Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 7 of the CDL Game of the Weeks. This is, of course, Game of the week 7, as I said, and beautifully, the two teams we have going up against each other don't have a logo, which is why this is ugly. But on the left, we have Upper, and on the right, we have MD. I believe, this is the second time Upper is going to be on the Game of the Week, which is awesome for him. He joins, I believe it's Rat, Adrian, and Knock have all been on 3 times so far. 2 times so far, which is cool for him, which means he's also in the running for the the award for most Game of the Week appearances, which is cool. Now, I know we're behind exactly 1 week. I've been a busy lad. I'm sorry about that. As you can also see, no SPDL up, or actually TEC uploads, because I've just been everywhere and everything. Tons of strength training for my knee, getting back into the swing of things, of course, because I had surgery, and then just general school stuff and a bunch of other things. So that's why the uploads have been kind of lacking. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna try to stay on top of CDL as much as possible. Every other form of content is gonna be kind of put on the back burner until that comes out better. But as you can see here, the matchup is pretty cool. So as always, right, Melmetal looks pretty good against the opponent's team. He has a couple switch-ins. He has potentially a physically defensive Scizor, I think can do some sort of thing. Mega Venusaur can Mega Venusaur doesn't die, at least it'll live, and it can fire off an Earth Power, so that's cool. Rotom kind of serves as a check here. It's kind of not worried about too much, and it has Will-O-Wisp to threaten it. And of course, Volt Switch is just really good. Or actually, Rotom in general is really good against Upper's team. It can Willow/Toxic the Quagsire and whittle that down, and then it can Volt Switch on anything except for Hippowdon, which dies to Hydro Pump, so that's cool. Salazzle is also pretty good. If it gets the sub, it can do the subset thing. The sand is a pretty big problem. Mega Venusaur is kind of going to have to be reserved for that Dracozolt, because Dracozolt is going to always be a big problem, right? Fire Fang, Draco Meteor, and then Big Bolt Beak are all options this week, especially under sand. It's just going to be a massive problem. Quag is pretty good for the Primeape and the Houndoom. Those are both pretty good. Or they both get checked pretty well by the Quagsire, if I remember correctly, unless I'm stupid and I'm forgetting something. What else? Hippo's pretty good. Hippo's good in general just because it has Whirlwind, it can beat Scizor 1v1 if it's at full, and it just does the sand for Dracozolt, which is, like I said, super good. Salamence is good as well after Rotom goes down a little bit. Has dual wing beat now, which isn't new, I guess, but dual wing beat fire move goes really hard. Plurgus is also super weak physically defensively, so it should be kind of an easy thing for this to happen. Of course, as the reason that Upper was so low on the PRs is because his team, especially defense-wise, is pretty weak. So if he can exploit that, if Houndoom, Salazzle are both pretty good options for that individually. They can't both come, obviously, but they're both pretty good. And then he does have a Dracozolt switch in it, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the game, which is here. So cool. As you can see, we don't have the teams from them because we are a week behind. I didn't want to wait for them and delay it any longer. So these are the 6 they both brought. Upper has the Salamence, Mega Gardevoir, Dracozolt, and then what is that guy? Melmetal, Hippowdon, and Turtonator. I forgot about Turtonator. And then we have Rotom, Venusaur, Druddigon, Houndoom, Florges, and Starmie on the other side. So I have music off so we don't lose anyone's ears. I've watched this battle once before, but I'm kind of not super remembering anything, which sucks for me. It looks like a good lead. What's a good looking lead here? Rocks are pretty good against MD's team in general. Rocks are pretty good. Yeah, rocks are good here. I think Hippowdon's a cool lead. I don't know if he's too worried about... I think Hippowdon's a good lead for him. I don't like Druddigon on this team because Druddigon just loses to everything. Or it loses to these 3 guys, which is pretty sucky. So I don't think Druddigon leads because he's afraid of all these guys for rocks. Starmie could lead. Rotom could lead. I like Starmie lead because it will beat the Salamence and it'll at least threaten out the Hippo. I could do something potentially to the Melmetal, I guess, if it's Hydro Pump. And Specs or a Life Orb Analytical or something like that. I'm not sure how close the roll is, but either way, flip turn out into Rotom Wash is good. Rotom Wash itself is a pretty good lead. So yeah, let's just start the game. Mence leads against Rotom Wash. So yeah, Mence is going to be forced out here into Gardevoir as the Will-O-Wisp comes off. Good play. That's fine. Burning this Gardevoir isn't incredible, but chip damage is chip damage. This is a play that's pretty interesting. So I don't think letting Rotom Wash get chipped here is too great of a play. He could have been packing, you know, Pain Split or something. But I don't particularly love it, especially because I believe he reveals, yeah, he's leftovers, so that's cool, I guess. But trading this little bit of damage here is just not very useful, especially when you always can go Florges here, and Florges can just wish stall this thing. Gardevoir is not really touching Florges too much, unless it's like Psyshock, but clicking Psyshock against this Rotom isn't like super great because then you get momentum on the Volt Switch. So I think Florges is always a better play here, and especially because Rotom needs to kind of stick around physically defensive wise for this Melmetal, since Venusaur is going to be primarily checking the Dracozolt. Rotom's pretty good here for the Melmetal and Salamence. At least you need it healthy for that, right? But right away, so the Rotom's down a lot, which is really good for upper. Now his Salamence and Melmetal are in a really good position. Now he goes Florges after taking that chip. So Florges takes 45%. I'm not sure what the spread is here, but that looks like it's pretty fine. He can just Roost up or Synthesis up, which lets in Melmetal. Maybe he was afraid of the double, so Rotom Wash comes in, and now, like, look, it's done. Rotom's dead. It's essentially a dead mon. So Pump comes out here, it's Turtonator, which actually doesn't let it click the button. Yeah. So he's gonna Volt Switch out and keep Rotom for possibly a sack. It is faster than a couple guys, so that's cool. Druddigon on the Fire Blast here, which is nice. Gardevoir comes back out on the Dragon Tail, immune, of course. I think Gunk Shot was cool there. I am not sure. I guess he's afraid of Melmetal. Gunk Shot would have been a nice read if he has it. Before he comes back out here. So yeah, as you can see, the Florges is forcing out Gardevoir. So that's pretty rough, right? Venusaur is out here, and Earth powers the Melmetal. Hitch lives, so I think that's AV. Yeah, but Double Iron Bash crits here, and now Venusaur is gone, and Dracozolt's dead. So that's kind of sucks because it might have been more avoidable, right? So he wouldn't have been risking that crit, or it wouldn't have been mattered as much if Rotom was still healthy. But because Rotom was chipped down so low, the physically defensive role kind of had to be played by Venusaur. And that crit and that situation, right, means that it no longer checks Dracozolt. So now Dracozolt beats it 1v1. And even if it was healthier, on top of Sand, Synthesis isn't healing as much, which is kind of interesting. I'm kind of surprised it's not a Wish Protect, because Synthesis in Sand is not very good. It's only 27-something%. So Salamence comes over here for free and can click button against Rotom. It's not really scared of Rotom anymore. Clicks Outrage here, which is interesting. That invites in Florges because it is locked into Outrage, and then he just gives up Salamence, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Salamence he gives up Salamence. Maybe he had nothing else to kill the Rotom, but locking himself into Outrage obviously was kind of rough because he can't switch out. But at this point, unless that was D-Dance, it was kind of not useless because it still beats the Druddigon and possibly Florges of a different physical move, but we'll see what happens here. Hippowdon comes back in, or comes in for the first time, and could set rocks, could do a lot of things. It just doubles out into Turtonator, which is cool. Starmie is now in on Turt, which is of course a good matchup for Starmie. He's going to switch back out into Florges and the Earth Power, and snag the Burn, which really sucks because now there's going to be Sand Chip on top of Burn, on top of Synthesis healing nothing. Flash Cannon comes out for Turtonator, gets his Spadef Drop. Flash Cannon is not too big of a deal. Spadef Drop is. MD is just going to fire off the Moonblast and claim the kill, which is, you know, a fine play. It just lets in Melmetal, but actually brings in Gardevoir, which is interesting. I think Melmetal is better there because you get more value out of it, but it doesn't really matter. Houndoom comes in here and gets the plus speed and fires off a Sludge Bomb. So yeah, see, Houndoom can't really touch Mence, so Houndoom is kind of inviting a healthy Mence to set up on it. Even though it's at this +2 speed, I'm not sure it really touches him and does too much. But Hippowdon comes in here just to the sand again. Druddigon comes out on the Earthquake. It does nothing. Or it does a little bit on top of sand and stuff. That's going to be kind of annoying. Druddigon's going to set rocks, which is... Now they set late game rocks, which is cool. It chips down the Houndoom, chips down the Starmie, which is nice. On this side of the field, Melmetal is kind of already dead at this point. I guess it's killed by everything and outspeeds nothing. Melmetal is kind of a dead mon here. Dracozolt here is pretty good, but it's not like you're going to have forever to switch back and forth, right? So Dragon Tail, he fires off Toxic, and I think that lower speed means Dragon Tail, which is okay. He got lucky bringing Melmetal in. If this guy came in, that would have just been a free switch for him, which would have really sucked for MD. Obviously, bringing in the Dracozolt for free is what you don't want right now. Even though he has no switch-ins, nothing's faster. We're pretty much just waiting for Dracozolt to come out. It finally comes out here. Hits the field with Draco Meteor, takes with Druddigon, which is cool. For upper, and now sand is gone. Houndoom comes in, which means Hippowdon comes in to reset the sand. And Houndoom just clicks Sludge Bomb. It does nothing to Hippowdon. So it gets poisoned, which isn't a big deal at this point. So the moment that Dracozolt comes in with 2 turns of sand, it's kind of over. Houndoom fires off a big Fire Blast into Hippowdon, which is gonna, in conjunction with the poison, pick up the kill. Sorry comes out here along with Dracozolt, and Dracozolt can outspeed, and because it's not hustle boosted, Sand Rush is going to pick up the kill. So that is the Week 7 game of the week. As you can see, it might have gone down differently if Rotom was preserved a little bit more. And I think Upper kind of had the win, or Upper had big advantage once that happened, right? And then he threw away not threw away, but he let Salamence die, which was kind of... I think that he still won. He obviously still won without it, right? But if he had it, it might have been an easier win for him. It might not have come down to 1-0. But yeah, that is going to be the Week 7 game of the week. That is going to be all from me. Anything else? No. I think Pure is going to be on a future episode soon. I have to talk to him. And then, of course... We have some special things coming for the playoff contenders, for those who make it to playoffs. But that is going to be it for me today. Goodbye, God bless, and have a great day.